Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Crotchety Old Men podcast. Hello, I'm Gary Smith, one of the co-hosts of the Crotchety Old Men podcast. And with me, as always, our main leader, George Crumley. Top of the day to you, George. What's going on?
Top of the day to you, Smith. I don't know about being a leader. I'm just trying to, I'm just here about being careful. So just doing what I do. How's it going for you?
Well, I put all those labels on you. Uh,
Today we got a special guest. Chelsia Lymon is joining us today. And as you know, we always talk about finances and things like that. But I thought it'd be a switch today to talk about something close to that. Chelsia comes to us. She's played basketball probably the majority of her life. She played high school. She played college. And she was also a D1 coach. And I thought it would be interesting for us to talk about transitioning from the basketball world or sports world into corporate world. She's currently working in Atlanta at a corporate office. So her life has completely changed from basketball to the corporate world. She's in corporate America now. So I thought it'd be interesting to talk about that. Once we always talk about what happens when the ball stops bouncing. So without further ado, Chelsia, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me, George, and I'm happy to be here.
Oh, good. Well, you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. As you stated, George, I have played basketball pretty much all my life. If you add youth league in there, I've probably been playing since I was six. The one thing that I definitely will say is I started off with playing with little boys at six, where I was a lot of times the only little girl on an all boys team, and I didn't actually start playing with girls until middle school. And I had a little toughness. A lot of my best friends since middle school talk about how I came in and I could go dribble between my legs and and just dribble. That they said I was a little show off, but playing with boys gave me that confidence and kind of gave me that swag, I guess, as they say now. And then I played through high school. I started playing in high school actually in seventh grade. I was able to dress varsity in seventh grade, started point guard from eighth grade on, and then got into college, and I was a starter, a scholarship player in college at Middle Tennessee State University, and I was able to get to three NCAA tournaments out of my 4 years. So had that experience. We played some of the top teams in the country. We always were at the height of, top strength of schedule, and we weren't afraid to play anybody. I remember playing Candace Parker and the Tennessee Vols when they were at the height, and I think they won a national championship that year. My freshman year, I opened up with Maryland, and they were the returning champs from the previous year. So I was able to get in front of the biggest and the baddest in our league and playing college. And then I transitioned into wanting to impact the game on the coaching level. And I coached at three different universities in 6 years. Started off at Morehead State, went and played at Tennessee State. I know George knows a lot about Tennessee State. I coached there for 3 years and actually won a conference championship with them that hadn't been done, like the previous year was 20 years ago. So I was able to be a part of that staff that helped them win a conference championship. So, and then after that, I ended up getting my master's while also working and coaching full time at TSU. So I'm also a TSU alum in the graduate program. And then I went on to coach at the University of Louisiana Monroe, ULM. And back in the day, they had a really powerful conference and team back when Kim Mulkey actually played for La Tech. So it was a lot of rich history, and I was able to be a part of that area. And then COVID hit, and I decided to make a career change and had to battle through COVID as as a lot of us did on not really having a job as to what I was going to do next in my career. And then I got the opportunity. I was blessed to become a physical education teacher. And I was working on my teacher's license while I was in Tennessee at Laverne High School. And I was able to be the head high school girls basketball coach there for 2 years. And then, as all of us know, there's times in life you have to say, is this really for me? So
Yeah.
I decided to go a totally opposite direction and get into the tech field, which is the SaaS field. And for you all that SaaS is pretty much it's basically it's a software. You pretty much software as a service company, and and that's why as me and George work together. I help assist and coach at Centennial High School with George. That's how we got connected. And just telling him stories about the transition from sports and now taking it over into the tech field and how it's helped me be successful. So that's it. A lot
Wow.
said, but that's a little bit about me.
Very good. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, my first question here, Salisa, is how has that transition been for you? Going from sports to business, let's say.
Well, it's definitely been a transition. As George said, in corporate America, the one difference is I work actually remote. I work from home. If you guys can tell in my background, I got a lot of sports plaques, but I work from home, remote. I've never done that. Going from a gym or going from a classroom, and I've always had to go in. So here in almost 2 years, I've actually been working remotely. But carrying a lot of that discipline that I had to have as an athlete, and even as a coach. It's a different type, but it's still the discipline that you have to have as a coach. Um, I've carried that into my career here in the tech, and I started off at tech sales. So, the competitive part is, I take everything I learned from sports into sales. Being competitive, setting goals, reaching them goals, accomplishing, wanting to be the best, at my craft. Not not having the basketball in my hand doesn't mean that it changes my perspective of wanting to do the best that I can do, with what I have in front of me. So I've definitely taken that mentality. I've transitioned that mentality from, a basketball court to being on a computer all day long.
That's real interesting, and one of the things that I always talk about, and regardless of what you're doing, is it's mental. Regardless of what you're trying to do, if it's sports, if it's business, it's more mental than physical. So talk about how the mental aspect of sports has formed you, and what are some of the things that you've taken with you from sports into the corporate world?
Well, preparation. One thing, we had, practice that get you, prepared for either a game or just prepared for a season. And that's what I've had to take here. The corporate world is preparing, preparing for meetings, preparing for presentations, preparing for the new quarter. you know, um, in sales you have 4 quarters. You have quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there you go. I'm used to quarters. So preparing for my next move, my next plan of attack in each quarter. Um, I always put the competitive mindset. All I needed to know when I started this job is, how do I get there? Let me know okay, all right, so this is level 1. How do I get to level 4? I don't want to just stay at level 1. I want to move up, and that actually has helped me get into the position that I'm in now. The first I started in June of 2022, and I was level 1, entry level, and I became a senior sales development rep within about 4 months of me being in the company. And then from January, from getting promoted in January, I got promoted again in July to principal, which is the level 3 senior development rep. And I asked my manager, I said, hey, I want more leadership responsibility. So being more assertive, again, what I've taken from basketball, going to my coach, I want to be a better leader. how do I lead my team better? How do I become, more authoritative? How with also being respected as being a point guard, not the easiest position on the floor. So I took that same mindset and went to my manager and said, I want to be more involved. I don't just want to sit and make calls all day, every day. I want to be more involved in the company so that I can have a better understanding as to, my role and my position and my worth into the company. And she did that. I had great leadership. She did that and put me in positions, put me in front of people, so that I could pretty much sell myself. And after level 3, it was actually, I had hit all the levels. I couldn't even get promoted anymore in the position I was in. so, so then I looked at him and I said, well, where are you going to put me? Because, you don't want to let me go. Right. So, kind of put their backs against the wall. It was a good position to be in. And, they ended up, I'm not going to say they found me a position, because I do feel like I earned it. I worked my butt off to get it. But now I'm in a leadership position where I'm actually in a senior enablement business specialist. So I train all the people that come in my position. I train those people. And again, that's coaching, that's player development, taking that with me. I didn't want to be, the path that they had for us was like account executive. I didn't want to be an account executive. I want to be more of a leadership. So I made my own path. And I said, I've been a leader. I want to continue to be a leader. That's my, my niche. And they found a way to get me in enablement. So now I'm training every new hire that comes in my role, and also training the current, continue to enable the current people that are in my role. So definitely taking a lot of my mindset from sports and from basketball into my current role right now in the company of Motive.
When you talk about athletes, as you're coming up as an athlete, you're going to have a mindset of playing this game. I'm sure you had a mindset of playing this game for as long as you possibly could. I'm
Absolutely.
sure you probably had ideas of maybe playing pro basketball. So
Mm-hmm.
talk to us a little bit about that mindset, as far as um, when you really discovered that, hey, maybe I'm not going. Well, actually, first talk about that mindset of preparing yourself to go pro, but then talk about, how you had to change that direction and actually, look at reality and say, this is not going to happen.
Yeah. George, that was a very tough part of my life, to be honest. Like I said, I had played since I was 6, and that was my goal. Believe it or not, when I was playing, the WNBA had just come out in, I think, 95, 95, 96. And it really wasn't, you know, it wasn't a lot of every little girl's dream, because that wasn't what was, presented to us. It was either NBA or overseas, so I had goals to play overseas. And to make this story a little bit more interesting, George, I actually had a contract to play in Dubai after my senior year. And to show you, what I had a passion in, my performance. I beat my body up in college. In 4 years, I had 2 major surgeries. I had a labrum tear, ACL tear, messed up hamstrings, messed up ankles, and my little body frame. I'm only 5'4", and the doctor, that our team doctor, he actually, the day I had my shoulder surgery, he was like, well, you have options. You can either have surgery on your shoulder, your ankles, or I can do both. And I was like, no, let me just do the shoulder first. And after, during recovery, my doctor and my mother, we all sat there, and he brought this to my attention, and he said, hey, you're not gonna play forever. He was like, and your body, you got to start thinking about your body. And he said, because when basketball is over, now your body's going to really feel it, and I had that contract in my face, and at the time, shoulder surgery was a little different, because, as I always say, your arms are out there, and it just messed up kind of, my performance and what I knew I could do. And I just didn't want anyone to see me at 70% because I always gave 100. And it was a tough decision. It was. And I'm not going to lie. I graduated at 23, 22, 23, and I pouted. I tell people when I tell them my story, I said I pouted for 2 years. I didn't coach, I didn't dribble, I didn't do anything. I said I'm done with it. If it's done with me, I'm done with it. And I was lost. I was lost in Nashville, Tennessee. I was just aimlessly walking around, trying to figure things out, and I couldn't understand. I'm like, why am I so lost? I got this degree. I got, basketball has been in my life. Why am I so lost? And I realized because I don't have basketball in my life. And at 25, that's when I started calling some folks that I knew, and I'm like, I need to get into coaching. I need basketball in my life. I said the world doesn't care that I'm pouting. And I got to get myself together and use what basketball gave me all my life and start giving back to the game, because it gave me so much. And like I said, at 25, that's where I got my first coaching job as an assistant at Morehead State. And it's been going uphill ever since then.
Good, good. So let's talk about our audience. I mean, there's a lot of athletes out there, and I'm sure they're in the same position. You have to think, wow, I'm going to play basketball. I'm going to make all this money. I'm going to do all these things. So here again, from a mindset perspective, what kind of advice, can you give some of our athletes that are, say, graduating from high school,
Right.
that have had good careers in high school, but, aren't getting those offers from colleges, and are now looking at what they need to do. And I'll tell you one other situation. I had a parent talk to me about his son was pretty good baseball, and got a scholarship to play baseball. And then all of a sudden he decided he didn't want to play baseball anymore. He's in college and all of a sudden doesn't want to play. So let's talk a little bit about that mindset here again, as far as advice you would give those that are maybe in those situations.
How I can say what I would suggest to athletes, and maybe this is a bad analogy, but look at as your career or as basketball kind of needing insurance. We all say, like I say, life insurance. We hate talking about the subject, but we know we need it because we know we're all not going to be here forever. So basketball, you love it, or whatever sport, you love it. That's what you think you're going to be with forever. But we know that's not true. you know you're not going to play forever. That's not true. So look at having an insurance plan, having that backup. When that ball stops, when you don't have to swing that bat anymore, when you're not playing soccer anymore, kicking that ball anymore, what am I going to do next? I went to college and got a marketing degree, and it's very rare that people go to college and actually right out of college they get into the field that they went to school for. I wish the percentages were higher, but they're not. A lot of times you come out of school and you kind of got to wait. You kind of got to prep yourself for when that opportunity comes. But go to school, get the knowledge you need in the field that you're interested in, but also know that when I get out of school, when I'm done with the sport that I'm currently in, what's my next plan? And I say, look at stuff that you're interested in. There's not a lot of time. When you're in your 20s, you feel like you have forever to make these decisions. And you do to a certain extent, but that's the time you start planning. That's the time you use to prepare yourself for the next move, and kind of feel things out. See if that's going to work for you. See if it's not. See if you like it. See if you don't. That's what you do in your 20s. And then when you move closer into your 30s, that's when you're trying to, you've eliminated the things that you're not interested in. And now you're getting more into what you would like to see yourself into. I didn't see myself in sales. But but once I started peeling back the layers and everything I've done in my life, I've always done sales.
Mhm.
you know, yeah, I've always done sales. So even in coaching, recruiting is sales. I had to speak with parents and families and kids and really sell to them our coaching staff, our education program, our university, our area. I had to sell that.
Mhm.
So even when you're playing on the court or on the field, a lot of times I would use the analogy to players as, you got to use some sell. You got to sell a little bit, look off, if you're going to go left,
Right.
look right, so that is what I saw. And to be honest, a lot of sales companies like athletes because we have characteristics that they're looking for. And it's just not a lot of athletes look at sales as what they've been doing all their lives. But there's sales jobs out there that are paying well, that are giving us great growth opportunity. And I mean, again, that fits our model. That's what we do every day in our sport, is wanting to grow and wanting that opportunity too. So, just as you're an athlete, look at it as an insurance, program. What am I going to do next? I know I'm not going to play forever, but what's my next move? What's my plan?
That's excellent. That's excellent because you're so right in terms of sales. A lot of the characteristics and attributes that an athlete has, particularly the mindset. That same mindset is certainly a critical component to even owning businesses and things of that nature. And making that transition, it sounds like that you have found purpose in your passion.
Definitely. I speak with my manager right now in my current position, and he gets on me all the time. And he's like, Chelsea, close your laptop at 5 o'clock. And I had to tell him the other day, and I said, I understand, building a family right now, and I have a lot of personal things going on. But I don't look at this as a job. I look at this as a career. And I look
Right.
at it as, he doesn't know when I played ball, I'd go in that gym after practice and I'd get 1,000 shots up because I wanted to make sure that when I got past the ball, that I was accurate. And
Right.
my coach didn't come in the gym and say, Chelsea, get out of the gym. It's 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the night,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and that's kind of how I take my career is, yes, I do have a time, but I'm not done until I'm done,
That's
and,
right.
and, and, and I go until I feel like it's time to, I've accomplished what I needed to accomplish. So yeah, that mentality is definitely tough for people that don't understand.
I love it. I love it. I hope y'all listening out there to this young lady because she's bringing it. Tenacity, perseverance, goal setting. I mean, you've heard all the salient points about improving yourself, self improvement, pursuing your dreams and things. And then you look at the transition of coming from, sports into the business world where you're not going to get a lot of people standing up, giving you a standing ovation or rooting for you. Okay, if anything in business, sometimes it can be the other way around. But it sounds like Chelsea, you have learned how to navigate, like you said, the sales piece, um, certainly the mindset, and being able to help others as you help yourself. I like that because as you continue to climb the ladder and pursue and build your career, where you are even now is just a stepping stone. I can see that now. This is pretty soon you're gonna outgrow that. Okay. And either buy a company like them or buy them out or go on to a higher height. So kudos, congratulations, and only thing I can say is I just want to encourage you to keep going, keep it going.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess one of my takeaways is the fact that we need to make sure our student athletes take advantage of every opportunity, and that's getting your education. That was one of the first things you talked about. Not only did you get your 4-year degree, but then you got your master's also, and that's that insurance policy that you were referring to. You got to
Mhm.
compare. You got to prepare yourself and make yourself a well-rounded person, regardless of when the ball stops bouncing, because nothing says that you couldn't have, like you said, gone overseas and played for a number of years, but at some point, your body your body, the wear and tear is going to catch up with you. So at that point, you still have something to fall back on. So here again, yeah, like Smitty said, I applaud you the fact that you took advantage of all the opportunities that were in front of you, even though it sounded like you were single threaded in focusing on basketball. You were also building character and building yourself something for the future. So yeah, I mean that's exactly what our student athletes need to do and need to keep in mind. It's not, this one and done stuff is fine, but you need to make a commitment to yourself that I'm going to go back and get my degree, or I'm going to prepare myself in a manner whereas when the money stops flowing from that sport, I'm going to have something to fall back on, because it will stop.
It will.
Yeah.
It will stop. It's just a matter of when.
It's just a matter of when.
I mean,
Exactly.
and as you said, George, about opportunity, I can only speak on my company. I work at a company called Motive. We actually we build hardware and software for the physical economy. So we work with trucking companies. The physical economy, the truck company is not the industry is not going anywhere. They've gotten hit, due to the economy, but they're still standing. And we build hardware and software that actually helps them be safer and more profitable in their company. And Motive has been around. We're ready to celebrate 11 years. So we're actually new. We're actually still considered a startup in this industry, but we have some of the newest technology that is out there in AI. Everything is AI detected. But with that being said, we're hiring. We're hiring in Nashville, and we're hiring all over. And guess what they're looking for? Fresh college graduates. And it's on my LinkedIn. I posted on my LinkedIn. I'm not savvy with social media, but I do have some postings on my personal LinkedIn for because I really think that we should get more young people um, into these positions. Um, yes, it is sales positions. Yes, there are other positions, but you got to start somewhere, and a lot of it is starting at that sales entry level, and then you'll see other paths you can take, similar to I did. I started at the ground level, learned about the company. I was new to it. I had no clue. I was talking with my new hire class, and I'm training now, and I told them, I said, I was new to trucking. I was new to tech. I was new to. I didn't have a clue. I was like, but I wanted to get it, and I knew how important our services were to this industry, to the trucking industry, and yeah, and I'll go ahead and put that out there. They pay very well. The tech world, the tech world pays very well. Has really good benefits. I mean, and coming out of college, that's what you're looking for. Yeah, good benefits because you're going to get kicked off mom and dad's insurance at a certain age, and and put some money in your pocket on top of like you said, commission and reaching goals. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there that we are hiring for any fresh college grads or anyone that's looking for a career change. We're hiring at my company called Motive.
All right, good stuff.
Real good stuff. Real good stuff. And I applaud you because I think sometimes women, and then especially Black women, so short of what they're actually able to accomplish. And I think you're a great representative of from what you're doing and how you're approaching things. And it's interesting when you said, I didn't know about any of these things to get started in this job. But what you did know is you had determination, you had skills in the fact that you learned a lot of this in your previous basketball and college. And that's what I tell people, college, it doesn't really matter what college you go to. College is there to teach you discipline and how to think through issues. And those are the kind of things that you have definitely honed in on and picked up on. And I really applaud you for everything you've accomplished.
Thank
Definitely.
you. Thank you. Yes, definitely looking for more African American in the tech field. Um, I am one of two in my segment. And we have over 23, almost 3,000 employees nationwide.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't feel like the Lone Ranger because I did over almost 40 years in telecommunications, and I was always the only one at the table. So, and Smitty can tell you the same thing. So, you're always gonna be a trailblazer. That's
Yeah,
just that's just life.
yeah,
That's just life until. But you think it in the right direction is continue to pull up
yeah,
others that have the same capabilities as you, and
right.
that's how we build. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely how we
that's
build.
how we do it.
Well, yeah. Well, here again, thanks for coming on to the podcast. I think this has been a lot of valuable information as always. Smitty, you got any words of wisdom, some pearls to leave our audience with today?
Well, I think I found one, and hopefully this is apropos for this particular conversation. And it goes like this: if it doesn't bring you peace, profits, or purpose, then don't give it your time, energy, or attention. I saw that quote somewhere and I said, it's mine now.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Well, thanks again, Chelsea. And as we always say on the Crotchety Old Man podcast, if you didn't know, now
Now
you
you
know.
know.
Take care.
God bless.
Be safe.